Welcome to today's deep dive. We're heading over to India. We're going to check out the biggest stories making headlines today. February 17th, 2025. We've got sports, politics, Bollywood, even some wild weather. We're looking at articles from all sorts of Indian media outlets. So
Sounds like a lot to cover.
yeah, let's jump right in. Okay, first up, tennis. A French player is making some noise over there.
Kyrian Jacquet, yeah, he just won the Delhi Open, which is impressive, but get this, it's his second win in India in just a few days.
Really?
He won the Chennai Open last week.
Wow, so he's on a roll. This guy, he was unseeded going into the Delhi Open, and on top of that, he's the third Frenchman in a row to win.
Yeah, 3 in a row. Interesting trend, right?
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see what he does next. Okay, from the tennis courts to something completely different. Bengaluru's weather.
Bengaluru.
Yeah, you usually think of nice weather, but
Yeah, pleasant weather.
but not today.
It is hot there, like really hot. They're having a heat wave, actually, even hotter than Delhi. It hit 35.9 degrees Celsius today. That's 2.7 degrees higher than this time last year.
Wow, that's a big jump. Can you imagine? Your nice, cool city suddenly feels like midsummer, and it's only February?
Yeah, it's a shock for sure. And this heat wave is part of a larger pattern. The India Meteorological Department, the IMD, they're saying summer's coming early all over India this year.
Oh, really? Early summer.
Yeah.
What do you think is causing these crazy temperature swings?
Well, probably a bunch of things. Climate change, deforestation, cities growing too fast, all playing a part.
Makes sense.
And, an early summer, that could be rough for farmers.
Yeah, how so?
Less water, crops might not grow as well. Their whole livelihood depends on the weather,
It's true. They need those predictable seasons.
Exactly. And then there's the electricity, everyone cranking up their AC, that could overload the grid.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's kind of scary to think about, actually. Okay, well, moving on from weather, let's talk politics. Some interesting diplomatic meetings in Delhi today.
Right, Jaishankar, India's external affairs minister, he met with Maria Tripodi from Italy, she's the deputy minister of foreign affairs, and Rishi Sunak, the former UK prime minister.
So two pretty important figures. What's the significance here?
Well, these meetings show how important India's become globally. With Italy, it's about building on their partnership, maybe more trade, technology, that kind of thing.
Right, right.
Think renewable energy projects, joint ventures for manufacturing, even cultural exchange programs.
I see a lot of potential there.
And then the meeting with Sunak. That probably covered a lot more ground. Trade, security, the whole post-Brexit relationship with the UK.
It's like a diplomatic dance.
Exactly.
Okay, from diplomatic dances to box office hits. Vicky Krishal's new movie, Chhaava, is making waves in Bollywood.
Yeah, total blockbuster. Chhaava has raked in, get this, 140.50 rupee crore in just 4 days.
Wow, that's incredible. Break that down for us. How much did it make each day?
Okay, so opening day, it earned 31 repair crore. Then day 2 jumps to 37 crore. Day 3, a whopping 48.5 crore. And then day 4, about 24 crore.
It just keeps climbing. It's going to pass Kaushal's last hit, Yuri, the surgical strike, right?
Definitely. And even beating Akshay Kumar's Skyforce at the box office.
Wow, Kaushal's really struck a chord with this one. What do you think this kind of success means for the industry?
Well, it could change things. Maybe more experimental movies, international collaborations,
Right, right.
Bollywood could really become a major player globally.
It's exciting to watch. Okay, now for a story about the power and maybe the dangers of being online. Ranveer Allahbadia, a big YouTuber, also an entrepreneur, he's facing some legal problems.
Multiple FIRs have been filed against him.
FIRs?
First information reports, it's the first step in a criminal case in India.
Ah, okay.
All because of a controversial video he released. It was part of his India's Got Latent series.
I see. So this case is pretty high profile.
Yeah, the Supreme Court is actually hearing his plea today.
Wow. So this could have a big impact on free speech in India.
Definitely. And for online creators, how much responsibility they have.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Okay, are you ready for some cricket drama?
Always.
Pakistan's hosting the ICC Champions Trophy in 2025. It's their first major ICC tournament since, wait for it, 1996.
Wow, that's a long time.
But here's the catch. Because of the situation between India and Pakistan, the Indian team will be playing their matches in the UAE.
Interesting. So they're still participating, just not in Pakistan.
Yeah, exactly.
This tournament is huge, not just for the cricket fans, but for the relationship between these two countries.
Right. I mean, cricket is a big deal in both places.
It could be a way to bring them together.
Maybe ease some tension.
We'll see.
Speaking of tension, the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, they're demanding an investigation into funding from USA.
USA Aid.
Yeah, the U.S. Agency for International Development.
Okay.
They gave India $21 million to increase voter turnout. The BJP claims this money was actually used to influence elections.
Oh, wow. That's a serious accusation.
It is. But to be fair, we got to look at both sides. The former chief election commissioner says there was no wrongdoing. He says they worked with USAID, but the money never went directly into elections.
Makes sense.
So it's a complicated situation.
Definitely raises some questions about foreign aid, how transparent these organizations are, how do you make sure the money's used the right way?
Exactly. Okay, from politics to economics, India's trade deficit is growing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hit a massive $222.99 billion in January.
Wow, that's...
Imports are up, but exports are down for the third month in a row.
Yeah, oil prices are all over the place. Global economy is a bit shaky right now, too.
So it's a mix of factors then.
Definitely.
But are there any bright spots?
Oh, absolutely. Some sectors are doing really well. Electronics, pharmaceuticals, rice, gems, and jewelry. The Commerce Ministry is saying India's total exports, goods and services, could be over $800 billion in the next fiscal year.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah, things are looking up.
So even with the challenges, there's still reason to be optimistic. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick pause here, but we'll be right back with more headlines from India. Don't go anywhere. We're back with more from India. Before the break, we were talking about the economy. But now, let's get back to cricket. Two of India's biggest stars are kind of at a crossroads right now.
Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli.
Yeah, them. They're heading into the Champions Trophy, and let's be real, the pressure is on.
It's a lot to handle.
They're both in their late 30s, and they haven't been played their best lately. There's even talk that Sharma might retire after the tournament.
Wow, retire.
I can't even imagine what that must feel like.
The weight of the whole country on your shoulders.
It's got to be tough.
It's a turning point in their careers, you know. This tournament could define their legacy. Will they come through, or will the pressure get to them?
It's a real human drama playing out on this huge stage.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on to a different kind of story. This one's about corporate stuff and visas. It involves Tata Consultancy Services, TCS.
The IT company.
Yep, that's the one. Former employees are accusing them of some shady practices.
Shady how?
It's about H-1B visas in the U.S.
Okay.
They're saying TCS misclassified employees as managers.
To get around the rules.
Exactly.
So remind me how H-1B visas work again?
Okay, so U.S. companies use them to hire foreign workers, people with specialized skills.
Right.
But there's a limit on how many visas they give out each year.
Okay.
So TCS is accused of making their company look like it has way more managers than it does.
Just to get more visas?
Yeah, it's all about gaming the system.
Wow, if this is true, this could be huge, not just for TCS, but for the whole H-1B program.
Absolutely. It raises all sorts of questions about how Indian IT companies operate in the U.S.
Corporate ethics, fairness, exploitation of workers.
Exactly.
This could lead to way stricter rules, more oversight.
Yeah, it's definitely a story to watch. Okay, last headline for today. Back to politics. The BJP is calling for another investigation into USA aid.
U.S. aid again?
Yeah, this is the second time today they've brought it up.
They're really focused on them.
They're saying USAID is meddling in India's internal affairs.
Meddling how?
Well, the BJP says USAID's work often goes beyond just humanitarian aid.
I see.
They're saying they're stepping into areas that threaten India's sovereignty.
That's a tricky situation. I mean, international aid is important, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They do a lot of good work around the world.
Definitely.
But then there's that question of influence. Is it really just about helping, or is it about pushing the donor country's agenda?
Exactly.
It's hard to know sometimes.
This case really highlights how complex international aid can be.
It really does.
Well, we've covered a ton today.
We have a lot of different stories.
Tennis, heat waves, politics, corporate scandals.
It gives you a sense of what's happening in India right now.
And for me, a lot of these stories are about accountability.
Accountability.
Yeah, like holding corporations responsible for their actions, questioning the influence of organizations like USAID,
Right.
scrutinizing public figures.
Makes sense.
People want transparency.
Yeah, they want to know what's going on.
They want people to be held responsible.
Especially now when things are changing so fast.
The world's changing. Information spread like wildfire.
It's true.
The lines between public and private are blurry.
Definitely.
And that brings us back to that story about the YouTuber, Ranveer Allahbadia.
Right, with the legal trouble.
It shows how powerful online platforms are.
And how much damage they can do if they're misused.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech is important.
It is. Essential for democracy.
But we got to be careful about misinformation, hate speech.
Especially when it goes viral.
This debate is happening all over the world, not just India.
It's a big issue.
Okay, as we wrap up, what stood out to you the most today?
That's a tough one. I think it was the story about those cricket legends, Sharma and Kohli, facing that crossroads.
Yeah, what about it?
It's just a reminder that everyone faces challenges, even these iconic figures. Age, pressure, doubt, we all go through it.
It makes you see them as real people.
Exactly, not just superstars.
And that's what I love about these deep dives. We're not just reading headlines. We're connecting with people's stories.
Their experiences, their struggles.
It reminds us that we're all connected.
Yeah, even if we're on opposite sides of the world.
Facing similar challenges, hoping for a better future.
It's a good reminder.
It's been a wild ride through the headlines today.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
From tennis to international relations.
All these different stories, but they all paint a picture of India.
That's what I love about these deep dives.
You really get a sense of what's going on.
The economy, the politics,
The culture.
the challenges they're facing.
It's a fascinating country, always changing.
You know, one thing that keeps coming up for me is accountability.
Accountability, huh?
Yeah, like holding corporations responsible. Questioning organizations like USAID.
Right.
Looking closely at what public figures are doing.
It seems like people are demanding more transparency.
Definitely.
They want to know the truth.
They want people to be held responsible for their actions.
It's especially important now with everything changing so fast.
Yeah, the world's a different place.
Information spreads instantly.
It's hard to keep up sometimes.
And that story about the YouTuber Ranveer Allahbadia,
Yeah, what about it?
it shows the power of online platforms.
For good or bad.
Exactly.
Freedom of speech is important, of course.
Sure.
But so is responsibility.
We can't just let misinformation run wild.
And this isn't just an India problem, it's global.
It really is.
So as we wrap up, I'm curious, what really stood out to you today?
I think it was that story about the cricket legends, Sharma and Kohli.
Yeah, what about it?
It just made me think about how everyone faces challenges, even these guys, at the top of their game.
They're still human.
Yeah, they're not invincible. They have doubts. They feel pressure.
It's a good reminder for all of us.
No matter who you are, life throws curveballs.
Exactly. Well, that's it for our deep dive into India's headlines.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay curious out there.